Not sure who I'm supposed to talk to at the beginning. Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. Crawler, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? Crawler coming at you with Wolverine. I can do this. Wolverine's right there. Where I can't point like that. I'm looking in his mirror and it's all that, but Wolverine's up there. Deadpool's right here. Go see the movie. Go do it. No spoilers.
Cheesy, how's it going?
What's going on, cheese curds?
Johnny's at the movie right now. That's why he's not here. So, but yeah, go see it. It's a lot of fun. Try to avoid as many spoilers as you can, guys. Go see it as quickly as possible because it's good. So, before we jump into this thing, Elgato, you guys have been talking about it the beginning of every episode. They just launched 2 new pieces of gear, and so if you have it's the newer Stream Deck that has the dials on it. They sell 2 attachments now that you can either plug your XLR right into the back of it, so it saves a USB spot on your setup, or you can add a whole USB hub to the backside of the Stream Deck,
and you can power your laptop through it if you have a laptop.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a pretty they're pretty cool, and they've also done some software updates to that Stream Deck as well. So if you are in the market, n64josh.com/Elgato, and make sure to use coupon code ZZ-N64Josh. They did send me the XLR attachment, and so I will be doing a review on that very, very soon. Before we get too much further, I do want to invite everybody to the Discord, n64josh.com/Discord. Come and chat with us, talk some games. It's always a good time. I'm usually stirring the pot in there as often as possible, and so it's good fun and all. And if you guys want to connect with me on all the places, I'm at N64Josh. Brawler, where can people connect with you?
Best spots are TikTok and Twitter. Nightcrawler724. Nightcrawler is without the E.
And Cheesy, how about you?
You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Communication Error Podcast, CheezyC64, CheezyC64. I also just want to give a shout out to Crawler. Happy birthday, buddy. Sorry we missed it.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Indeed. The big 4-0?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right. It's slowly creeping. Slowly creeping up on you. I do want to give a shout out to everybody hanging out in chat right now. I see Nady Nay and Cece and Crimpus and Shanna Banana. So anybody else that's just lurking, thank you guys for being here and hanging with us live. We appreciate it. And it's going to be a fun show tonight. We got a handful of things to talk about. A lot of news articles we're gonna dive into. We're even gonna do a little bit of trivia. I have a couple trivia questions we're gonna do. But before we jump into it, is there anything like new and noteworthy? Anything you guys have been playing that is worth mentioning? I'm gonna look up. There was a game from I think it's PM Studios. I'm going to check the eShop real quick, see if I can't find it. But Crawler, anything you've been playing this week?
Just shaving down time in NES Nintendo World Championships NES edition. I got my rankings based on the year I was born and also just overall. The mushroom one was my best one. I think I was top 5% for my birth year. But everything else, I was like 20 or 30%, 30th percentile or whatever. But
okay.
I mean, I feel like the mushroom is what I spent the most time working on. But I'm excited for this week. I think I think I have a really good time on Donkey Kong level 1. I think I have a decent time on. There's another one. I forget what the other challenges were. Johnny's
coins?
got a really good time on the Lionel in Zelda. But yeah, the challenges this week are fun. The coins they're pretty good, but like both you and Johnny have faster times than me, so I know I'm going to be I'm sub 2 minutes or 2 seconds. So I mean that's good, but I think they're watching the person that did the mushroom. He like did you watch the video of the person that did it?
Yeah, that backwards jump. Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. We probably didn't watch the same one. If you notice, if you go back and watch, they change who you see each time. Because everybody that
really?
ties technically gets first place.
Oh.
So I went to go
I
make
saw
my
I
video.
saw the backwards jump. That's what I saw.
So did you see the immediate backwards jump, the little short
No,
hop?
I saw the hesitation jump. It was like a hesitant, it was like a half, and then he just flew backwards or whatever.
So depending on which one you saw, because I was making a video of this, right? So I was like, I watched it, went back to it, was going to give my commentary on it, and then I sounded stupid because the first one I watched, when they started, they did a little short hop to get their momentum, and then the backwards hop over to land on the Goomba, hit the mushroom, and then jump up and get the 3.50 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, we're seeing different. Everybody that tied for first, you're seeing their replay. It changes each time. So
crazy.
Yeah. The only one. So I was top 3% on the one on 1-1, and the top time was what 21.11, I believe. And I got 21.16. And literally the backwards jump at the beginning was the only difference that shaved that 0.05 seconds off of the time. So yeah, it was like I had a blast. I've still been having a blast with that game. Cheesy, you finally just jumped into it, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I got it over the weekend because it came out on my birthday. So that's why I wasn't here last week. And then over the weekend, Hannah threw me like a Nintendo, like kind of championship party. Is like that was what the theme was based off of that game. But we had some people over. We played some Mario Party, Mario Kart, some Jackbox games. So it was just a really fun time. But I didn't get around to playing the championship game until like this afternoon. And I've only started playing like the Super Mario Bros. Challenges, and they're tough. Like I mean, if you want,
they're very tough for S rank. Those are pretty tough.
Yeah, if you want to get S, like they're hard. But I understand why people are liking this game because it's just so addictive. It's fast paced. I mean, I was like worried that I was running out of time because I was going to have to do the podcast here soon. And then it was still like an hour before we even record. But that's just because I was playing it for so long. And then it just resets like that. It's so fast. And like all the challenges are supposed to be. What was that?
Did your thumb hurt yet?
Yeah, actually, because I'm playing with the Pro controller and that D-pad is terrible.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a SNES controller or an 8-bit do or whatever?
Nope.
They're worthwhile for this in particular.
That's like the only thing that I don't like about the Pro controller. Otherwise, like I think it's the best controller right now. But the D-pad is terrible.
That's all I've been playing is with the D-pad on the Pro controller. And it's not I modified my D-pad on my first Pro controller so that the inputs would be more accurate. And but I've been playing with the Monster Hunter. I think the first Monster Hunter Pro controller is what I've been using, and it seems to be doing okay. But I'm the other one,
the gold one,
yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to playing it with the NES controllers and seeing if I. But I mean the the corners on that D-pad, like the Nintendo thumb is real, and it's real very.
I think
very quickly.
isn't there a tagline in it that says "My thumbs hurt" or something like that?
Oh, I believe so. Yeah. And some of those taglines are absolute. I went through and read all of them. Like mom and dad hid my power cord and stuff. Like that happened to me. Like bad grades, my power cord disappeared. So
They need. I wonder if they have one that's like don't turn off the system or something like that. I don't think they
need
did.
to. They definitely need to. But that game I was mentioning at the beginning is one that I played PAX 2023, I think.
Last year?
It might even have been 2022. Actually, I think it was 2022, and it's called Exophobia, and it's $14.99 on the eShop right now, and I haven't picked it up just because I'm going to see if I can get some review codes. But it's a it looks kind of like Doom, like the original Doom. It's like pixel first person shooter, but from what I played at the events, so great, like so great. So if I don't end up getting a review copy, I'm going to pick it up. But if you're looking for something to pass the time, the graphics and everything are like they're really really good. And this game's been cooking for a while. They really let this one cook. So I threw the link if you guys want to be able to check it out in the chat as well as in our private chat as well. So it's Exophobia, $14.99, and it has a fantastic art style, just very 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 like first person, but just all pixel graphics, and so worth checking out for sure, especially if you're a fan of first person. It's kind of got the goofy, like you find yourself alone in a human spaceship taken over by hostile alien soldiers. Like it's very much like from the era that it would have come out in. So I do recommend checking that one out. I jumped back into Tears of the Kingdom a little bit. I did a couple shrines, and
have you beaten that one yet? No. Okay.
No, I've just been taking my time with it, like just doing a few shrines here and there, and I got all my stamina bars are fully there now, and I've got a massive row of hearts, so I'm sure I'm getting closer to where I could like start to
Do you know the ending at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I've had nothing spoiled yet, thankfully.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a really good ending.
Yeah.
That's what I'm anticipating. So yeah, had a really good time jumping back in there. But we're gonna jump into a little trivia. We got to see today the announcement for a Yoshi and Mario Lego set that looks pixelated, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of trivia and then a little bit of history. So we'll see if you guys get this right. But the question is, when did Yoshi first make an appearance? Is question number one. You guys got any guesses?
Is it Yoshi's Cookie?
Good guess. It's a good guess. Cheesy?
I want to say Super Mario Bros. World. But I don't think that's it, because that seems like that would be too obvious. Mario Kart?
You are actually correct. Super Mario World.
Super Mario Bros. World?
The first.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Super Mario World.
But Yoshi's Cookie was on NES, and
correct. But I don't believe, I'm going to see if I can. Yoshi's Cookie. Trying to find the. Hang on, I can click the link.
I had it on Game Boy. I didn't have it on NES, but I had it on Game Boy.
Yeah.
So they came out in 1992.
Oh, really?
Yes, even on Game Boy in 92, and NES and Game Boy in 92, Super NES 93. So after the release of so there we go. I got to stump you guys a little bit because I thought the same thing at first. I was like, I think it's Yoshi's Cookie,
the cross generational
game
stuff where they just kept making NES games after SNES was out.
Right.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah. So a little bit of history right here. Shigeru Miyamoto, the video game designer at Nintendo, credited with inventing the Mario series, had wanted Mario to have a dinosaur companion ever since the first release of Super Mario Brothers. However, Nintendo engineers could not add such a character into the game due to the limitations of the NES. The inspiration for Yoshi can be tracked back further to the Green Dragon Tomagon in the 1984 video game Devil World, which we got Devil World on NSO, right? Which was kind of one of those titles that I don't believe that we had much I don't think we had it in the West here. And so it says both are green lizards that hatch from eggs and can eat enemies with their large mouth, but also emit the same noise when they hatch. During the development of Super Mario Bros. 3, Miyamoto had a number of sketches around his desk, including an image of Mario riding a horse. Takashi Tezuka, a Mario series developer, speculated that Miyamoto's love of horse riding as well as country and Western themes influenced Yoshi's creation. The concept of Mario riding a dinosaur also came from the NES video game Excitebike, which featured people riding motorcycles. So there you go. Well, we just to stay on just to stay on the Yoshi point here, but we could talk the Lego real quick. The moment I saw the Lego, I was like, it looks super rad. What is this orange thing? Right. So we discussed prior to the show starting, and Cheesy, what is the orange thing under Mario's foot?
The orange thing that is very out of place is actually Yoshi's arm.
Correct. Yeah.
It's just, it looks so weird. I know that we talked about like maybe it's his Mario shoe, or maybe it's like a stirrup, like for the saddle, but it's his arm.
Right. Yeah. And so we did a little bit of an investigating here just to see like what is going on. And sure enough, if you look at scenes from Super Mario World, you can see the different Yoshis, and their arms do not match their bodies. They're all orange. So it to me, it stood out like a sore thumb. I'm like, this looks out of place. This doesn't,
and it moves too. So like when you do the crank, it's gonna move.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. So pretty interesting there. Kind of can transition right into the news. So this thing was announced today. What do you think, Crawler? What do you think of this? This being you and Johnny love your Legos.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for how great this actually looks. Like in the pixelated art form. Like I could definitely see Raccoon Tail Mario like off the cover of Mario 3, like being the next thing that they could do. Like they could take a lot of artwork from the world, and it's all just tile pieces, but they added this really cool just technic aspect to it that has the feet do a running animation, the arm swings, and the coolest thing is that the mouth can be closed or open and the tongue comes out. I think that's just the coolest thing.
The only thing missing is Mario's not punching Yoshi in the back of the head.
every time he opens his mouth.
Joey in the chat says Johnny isn't here. Isn't here to say that the Lego, it's the Lego set of the best Mario game world, not 3. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, I think it looks fantastic. One of the things for me is like looking at this is it would make a great piece just to display, right?
Yep.
Versus like Bowser is massive, and you got to have the shelf space for it. This could sit out like almost anywhere and be just something that's like don't get me wrong, the Bowser's amazing, it's awesome, but like I really like the way this looks. And one of our topics later on is we're going to be talking about what other kind of Lego sets will be like to see from Nintendo. So moving along in the news here, we're gonna kind of rapid fire some stuff. I got a lot of stuff. So real quick, the Nintendo Live threat culprit. Remember when Nintendo Live was like, they were like, I think it was the one they
canceled the Tokyo one.
Yeah. Sentenced to a year in prison. And the reason these threats came to be because he kept losing at Splatoon 3.
Yep.
Sore loser, didn't want anybody else to have the competition to prove that they were better than him. Interesting.
Yeah. 27-year-old individual admitted to his crimes last month, blaming his increased frustration at losing Splatoon 3 matches. In the 39 threats submitted through Nintendo's official inquiry forms between the 22nd of April and the 29th of November. Like, what? The man threatened to kill everyone involved in the creation of the game and warned the company to be careful about events that had spectators in attendance. Like,
because they could sue him for damages for all the time and money that they spent reserving space or whatever. I mean, they could probably go after him.
It's hard to say, like, and who knows? Like, not Nintendo's not the company to mess with. I know that much.
They got ninjas.
Splatoon 3 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe World Championships, initially set to take place at Nintendo Live Tokyo, were rescheduled for April. Nintendo has since stripped the winners of the Splatoon tournament following evidence of racist behavior from certain members of Team Jackpot. So that was also very messy. Like, Cheesy, you got any insight on this at all?
I mean, just I guess good on Nintendo for not allowing that kind of behavior. They also had the team that won was going to have they did have a banner that you could get in Splatoon 3. They're removing that in an update. And so I don't know. I mean, like, good for Nintendo recognizing that, but also, like, just to back up a little bit with the threat that they had, they still put out like concerts for Splatoon 3, and I think they even had like the live orchestra for Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild. I forget which one it was. And it was very weird because it felt very kind of COVID, like they were performing for nobody. And it was just so sad because that should have been celebrated. There should have been people there, but it's cool that Nintendo still wanted others to see it online and not just like cancel the whole thing.
Adding a little bit, part of the reason Nintendo took it so serious from the Nintendo Life article here, it says a statement from Nintendo employee was read out this week at this week's court ruling, in which they confessed to being terrified by the threats as it reminded them of the 2019 Kyoto Animation arson attack, in which 36 people died after the culprit had sent similarly threatening letters. So it's part of the reason they took it so serious. So yeah, just wild week for Nintendo. We talked about the Lego set. If you're still playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there is a limited time Pokemon now available, and it's looking like from we got Cerebi.net. It's a Roy's Pukoko. I don't know if I said the name right, but you got to use a code. You can use code 909 team up 06, and this runs until the 31st of January 2025. So you've got plenty of time. But if you want to get this this special Pokemon, you got to use 909 team up 06. And it looks like this code was made available to the San Diego Comic-Con attendees as well. So little treat from Pokemon there. Zelda's producer says he's really thrilled about their first Lego set. And is this, Crawler, are you picking this one up?
It's pretty rich, but eventually, yes, probably.
Okay. When you finally get it, which way are you displaying it?
Breath of the Wild.
And don't say in a box, not
Breath
built.
of the Wild. I like the Breath of the Wild formation just because it's all one platform versus Link's Treehouse being separate, and just kind of I feel like it showcases a little bit better, but it might be worth trying to piece together a few of the extra, like there's websites that you can go source the bricks and maybe piece together enough just to like at least build his treehouse, because you will have the extra. Well, you'll have the figs that represent Ocarina of Time. So finding a way to kind of showcase that as well. Johnny, I think, wants to buy 2. I don't know if he's
Gotcha.
going to or not.
No, I think he's going to, because that's Johnny.
Cheesy, if you picked it up, which one would you display?
Probably Breath of the Wild. Like, I think it just looks better. And kind of with what Crawler is saying, like, it's all together in one piece.
Gotcha. Okay. I would go Ocarina.
Would you?
Just because I'm like, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
But it's one of those sets that, like, if I had the space to display it, I'd probably get both of them. Get it twice, just because it's like, it's so iconic. You know what I mean? And we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about more Lego stuff later. But I'm definitely ready for some Mario minifigs. I can tell you that much, especially after seeing Link there.
Mm-hmm.
The NFTs, as Johnny likes to call them, Nintendo Switch Online ads, Nintendo World Championships, NES edition icons. You got Mario swimming, Kirby floating, Link with holding a piece of the Triforce, and Kid Icarus. That's wave 1, and that's going to be until the 31st. Wave 2 is going until the 7th, and you're going to have Link from Link Legend of Zelda 2, the Excitebike rider, Samus, and Balloon Fight. And then wave 3, and that one ends the 7th. Wave 3 starting the 7th. You're going to get Birdo, Donkey Kong Upside Down, which is pretty funny. It looks like ice climbers hanging from a pterodactyl, and then Mario 3 grabbing the leaf, like he's just about to turn into Raccoon Mario. So pretty cool there if you're collecting the icons here. Oh, and looking at things. So the graphic that I was looking at only showed a handful of how many are in wave 1. So looking at the tweet from NSO, I didn't even know this was an account. Icons NSO. So there you go. If you guys want to know exactly which icons are coming out, I love that. That's great. So wave 1 has it has a lot more. It has quite a few more. Mario grabbing a mushroom, Peach pulling up a radish, the rocket from Mario 2, Mario 3, Mario grabbing a mushroom, a hammer bro. Like, yeah, it's a pretty extensive way. It looks like there's going to be a lot of these things for each wave. So if that's
start playing some
Fire Emblem Heroes.
Fire Emblem. Yep.
Yeah. The main news article that kind of really grabbed my attention is the Pokemon Company banked $10.8 billion in retail sales last year. And
is this everything?
One of the top 10 global licensors. So
this is plushes, cards, games.
Yeah, so the article here says the company has plenty of huge moneymakers from video games to trading cards. We now get to look at how it ranked alongside other companies over the past year, courtesy of License Global's latest retail report. And so, yeah, like you guys were saying, it's got to be basically everything. Walt Disney, number 1 at 62 billion. Authentic Brands Group at 28. Dotdash, Meredith, Warner Brothers at 4, Hasbro at 5, NBC Universal at 6, and the Pokemon Company at number 7. So Blue Star Alliance, Mattel, and WHP Global were the top 10 there. So Pokemon raking in the dough. That is for sure. I mean,
it's just
it's
wild, right?
Shout out to PAX. It's why I've bought some Pokemon cards here and there. I've got I don't even really collect that stuff, but I've spent money on Pokemon stuff.
Yeah, yep. I think it's gotten to a point where there's so many Pokemon that I'm surprised that creature is a Pokemon, and it's not just
garbage as a Pokemon.
Yeah, Trubbish. that one I do know because I just think it's great. But Crawler, have you been to a King Supers lately?
Yeah,
Like I don't know.
that's yeah. We
You
have
have the
we have a Pokemon Center vending
yeah
machine there.
yeah we have a Pokemon kiosk in our grocery stores, and it's just wild to me because like it's cards that like cost $200, you know, like a big pack, or you can get just like a pack of 10, but they have them in our local grocery store.
They're safer in there though because they're not being ripped off the shelf
Yeah,
and
true.
fought over by 40-year-old men. So you gotta wait through a vending machine process to get them.
Speaking of vending machine process, have you guys seen the keychains that Nintendo is has put out at the Nintendo Japan, the store at Nintendo Japan? They're basically are like little fidget.
Oh yeah. I did see a tweet about that. Yeah. I want to get one or two.
They've got like all of you've got, well, not all the controllers, but you've got the Famicom and the NES were the first ones, and that's 3 pieces each that make up the full controller. And then you've got like the
SNES.
Super Famicom, which is just the buttons, and then you have like the 64, which is the stick, and then one that's the buttons, and then the GameCube is another
just
one.
C stick. There's a just C stick one, and then
buttons.
there's A, B, X, and Y.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm looking at these things going like, I would look like the craziest janitor ever with all of these keychains, like just on the side of my.
So I haven't seen the OG like Famicom ones. Like I've only seen the pictures of the Famicom and 64 and GameCube. They have
so they
NES
have
and Famicom ones.
Yes, okay. NES and this is random. I'm trying to find the article. Nintendo's new button collection toys can be used for real controller repairs.
Yep.
Oh, they're just like they got the actual stuff in them. You would hope so, I guess, so they have that tactile feel because they're kind of fidgety kind of toys.
Trying to see if I can find the it's just got to load in here. Here we go. I'll get you the link from Nintendo Life so you can see all of the. Actually, it's a tweet.
Oh, they come out of gotcha machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's out of gotcha machine, and there was quite the line for
out the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that sucks.
So yeah, it looks like there's a total of 12 different. And I'm sure you can get them on eBay, but I think they're going for a pretty penny right now. I haven't priced them out or anything, but probably a pretty penny, I'm sure. And I mean, seeing the popularity, hopefully they release them everywhere. But there was one other thing I meant to mention. Oh, did you guys play, what is it, Denpa Men or whatever? Like I downloaded it yesterday.
Nope.
What is this?
So remember from the Direct that really strange, like, I want to make sure I'm saying the name correctly here. Like, yeah, the new Denpa Men is it's like they have just like they look like Teletubbies, and then but it's like a free RPG.
Oh,
and yeah, it's out. So like
I don't need that in my life. I was gonna go to the eShop, but then when you described what it was, like, yeah, I don't need that.
It's already had 100,000 downloads, and apparently they're getting roasted for some of their translation issues. Like I'm just looking at the article here. So I'm
on the eShop right now, and Star Wars Bounty Hunter's coming to Switch, which should be
with Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's got because wasn't that a rumored Easter egg, and then it never came to fruition, and then Asper put it in.
I believe something along those lines. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, the new Denpa Men is getting roasted for some of their translation issues and stuff. But I was just curious if you guys, I'm curious if this is going to be a sleeper that people are going to be like, yo, you got to play it. You know, I haven't heard anybody saying that yet, but I'm just curious. That's all. I downloaded it, so I will report back and let you guys know what I think. But well, that does it for the news. Let's jump into our topics. The first one, Cheesy, you weren't here last week. What are your thoughts on Emio and the direction that game is going?
Oh man. Okay. So I mean, I think it was great advertising by Nintendo, even though there are people who probably are upset that it is a um crawler's pointing to himself. That is just a novel. Not a novel. What am I trying to say? Sorry.
It's a Famicom detective game.
Yeah. And so like that's cool because there hasn't been another one since the NES or since the remakes, I guess. And they did so well that they decided to make a new game. But with the teaser that they showed, like I think everybody was expecting it to be some kind of 3D horror or just seeing what Nintendo is going to do in the direction of a horror game. And then it's not like I'm interested in it to see why they decided to make another Famicom detective game, but at the same time, I'm afraid that I'll fall asleep and it won't be the game for me. But I think it is really cool.
I'm curious about the nostalgia factor for some people being a 30-year-old game, basically, or we haven't seen a new one of these games in 30 years. So other than the remakes. So yeah, it is. I do think a lot of us had higher hopes that Nintendo was going to be doing something, maybe taking a little bit bigger of a risk and not leaning into an old IP. Like, and who knows? Hopefully Emio makes it into Smash at some point. That's
I mean,
that's
in a
all I'm saying.
way, it is kind of a big risk, right? Because they are pulling from one of their older IPs and hoping that it sells well. And I guess on Amazon, it was like the top pre-order that day.
Oh, that's saying something then for sure. And it looks like it's coming in at $39.99 and not the full price tag as well.
Nope, $50. Is that what you said?
Oh, interesting. Well, the first one I clicked on was I think this is giving me it's giving me pounds, so it was $39.99 in pounds. So
yeah. I mean, so the teaser trailer that they released like made it seem like dark and gritty, and then you see this on the website, and it's like that's not that scary. Like
it looks like Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of had it right when we were talking about it last week when we said the leaked ESRB equivalent or whatever in Australia, like some of it was some dark stuff, but I think we talked through it as a group and kind of came up with the idea that it was going to be a detective game and you were investigating those crimes and not committing those crimes. But yeah, it's a little disappointing that they like everyone was super excited for like this dark, gritty thing, and then we don't really get it.
Yeah, and the word I was struggling with is visual novel. I just wanted to get that out there because it was bothering me. I wanted to say graphic novel, which that's not what it is, but like I do think this game may be kind of graphic in that way. So maybe it is kind of a graphic novel at the same same time.
Yeah. There you go. Well, yeah, I think we're kind of in the same like I think we're all kind of in the same boat. Cryptic says I feel Nintendo hyped it up bigger than it was, or creators made it bigger than it was, that the M rating made us view it differently. It's basically a visual novel. Yeah. And I mean, I think we were all so excited about the potential of like, new IP and M rated and gritty that I think it just had everybody kind of, getting real excited. And Joey Pitt says, do you think Nintendo will see how excited people got thinking it was an M rated horror game? I mean, maybe, but it's really hard to say what, you know, I'm assuming that their decisions to make those kind of games they've got so many other factors that go into it, but who knows, maybe it's something that will be explored.
I think either way, if you like it or you're upset, I mean, you can't deny that advertising was great.
It built hype. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. There was, like Cryptic said, I feel Nintendo hyped it up bigger than it was. Like, I think we all played a part, especially when they were so cryptic with it. Oh, no
Yep.
pun intended. Cryptic. And it just, yeah, it really was firing on all cylinders. So we were talking about the Lego that came out. I thought another fun topic would just kind of be like, what other Lego do we want to see from Nintendo? And I think this is something we've kind of talked about in the past, but like, I think seeing the 8-bit stuff or the 16-bit stuff really kind of opened, like, I had not gone that, my mind had not gone that direction thinking about Nintendo Lego sets before. And so honestly, like, even a Nintendo World Championship Lego set that was like building the cart and then building a bunch of the characters that are in each of these games, I think could be pretty fun. And at the same time, like I said at the end of the news segment with the Zelda Lego set, I want Mario minifigs. Like,
Yeah.
I want more than the terrifying the terrifying Marios and Luigi that you know, if they're not turned, if the eyes are left off, they look like
Dead inside.
they look like Emio, you know. So what are the Lego sets like? Would a Splatoon Lego set get you to pull the trigger, Cheesy?
To pull the trigger, like, I don't know. Lego is so expensive that it's possible, maybe. But I do think that would sell really well, especially if you had figures of the idols. Like if there were minifigs of them, maybe it's their concert venue or specific maps that you could build. I would love to see more from Animal Crossing, and like
we're getting more in a week. We're getting
what are we getting?
KK's concert on the plaza. I think it comes with town hall and a van and KK's concert, and then we're getting Dodo Airlines as well.
Okay, I'm thinking more of like the adult sets though, where it would be like the Roost or the museum or something like that.
They have a natural history museum. They just gotta give you a what's his name? Blathers minifig to add to it.
Yeah,
but they had a natural history museum that came out beginning of this year or end of last year.
Yeah. Maybe with the new like 16-bit that we have with the Mario and Yoshi, it would be cool to see like Samus's gunship.
Yes, with the minifigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Ridley and Mother Brain, or I mean,
yeah, or Kraid.
Cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. Joey says I would love to see a Banjo-Kazooie Lego set. I'd pay hundreds. Cryptic said I would love a Metroid Lego set. We got a big Bowser, so maybe a big Ridley or Kraid would be awesome, or Samus ship. So there we go.
Which they've done ships really cool. They have the Milano coming out here pretty soon for Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a good handful of I think it's the Benatar, I think, and then the newer one. They come on nice stands that they've done with the Guardians of the Galaxy ships. They've recently started doing MIDI scale Star Wars ships. So they have the Executor Star Destroyer, they have the Millennium Falcon, the Tantive 4, the Invisible Hand. Like they could do probably MIDI scale like Samus ship or something like that. That would be cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Crimpus says, what about Game Boy DMG Lego set like the NES one? And I'll piggyback on that a little bit and say, like, what if we saw the whole Game Boy like a whole Game Boy line where you could build each and have cool stands for them so that they could be displayed.
I have the Atari set. I need to build it, but they come with Centipede and Adventure and stuff. The carts are a separate build as part of that set. So I mean, they definitely know how to build cartridge, and you build the Super Mario cartridge out of Lego.
Right, that's what I was saying with the NES World Championships. You could almost do the gold cart as well if they were to do something or go that route. I'm so nervous. Guys, if you're just listening, he's currently pulling the NES cart.
It's got a lever on it, but
NES.
it's like it's not tilt. It's supposed to like tilt, and I don't want to push it. And like I don't know, it's in there.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, we're gonna watch a disaster happen live.
I have an example. This is Star Wars has been doing stuff. These are the diorama sets. So if you're watching video, like this is the duel on Death Star 2. But after playing the World Championship stuff that we've been playing, like I did a decent amount of having to fight Bowser, throwing all those axes as you're trying to jump on the big axe in the final boss stage. Like, do a diorama of that, like bridge with the axe, and do a big fig of Bowser, and then a minifig scale Mario, and just have it be. They have clear bricks or whatever for. They could have the axes going through the air, and then Mario jumping, trying to get to the bridge. Maybe they could have it do in multiple stages, so you could have it where the bridge falls away. And I don't know. I think that would be cool.
And give us the room right behind with Toad and Peach as well.
Yeah,
that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. I'd love it. Love it. Taking a look here. Cryptic says, since we got more flat designs in Super Mario World, maybe we can get a Paper Mario. Okay. Joey Pitt says maybe a Smash Bros. Line characters and stage builders. That'd be interesting. Here we go. We know. Cryptic says we all know we want Fire Emblem Lego with sword characters. Yes, absolutely. Just people would love that just as much as they love all those characters in Smash. So, well, moving on from the Lego here. Capcom had their shareholders meeting, and one of the main games of topic was Mega Man. And I thought we could kind of discuss, where does the Mega Man series go? We saw Mega Man 11 make its way to the Switch in, I believe, like 2019, around there, something like that. I could look it up exactly, but
it was pre-COVID. I can recollect that, at least, I think. So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, so, but how does this series evolve? Right? Like Cheesy, being the youngest one here, how much of Mega Man have you played?
None. I'm afraid to admit that, but yeah, when you brought up this topic, or I saw it on our doc that we were going to be talking about it, I've not played any Mega Man. And so I don't know if that is just a me thing or if it speaks more towards the brand. And, is it like a Mario game? Is it like a Metroid game? Because I know he has like his arm cannon. It's kind of more like it's like
a
Kirby,
choose your own
right?
adventure side scroller kind of.
And when I mean like Kirby, I'm not saying that it's easy, but like you do take on different abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah, and I mean, you've got at least on NSO, I believe the Game Boy games made their way over to.
I can double check. I think they did.
I'm pretty sure a collection came over. That's where I played most of my Mega Man up until X on Super Nintendo. That's where I fell in love with Mega Man, honestly. Like,
okay.
And so the way it is you side scroll through a level, you get to a boss, you beat said boss, and then his power makes it easy to, like, it's almost like Pokemon at that point. Like, fire beats water beats, or water beats fire, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go down. I need a cheat sheet for all that stuff, but that's how Mega Man plays, where it's like, okay, once you beat this boss, then you want to go this one next, and then this boss's power gives you, and then you can switch between those powers as you're playing the game, so you can get, like, you don't just have your main blaster any longer.
Yeah, 1 through 5 is on Game Boy, NSO.
Yeah, Yeah. So I
Okay.
mean, check them out and just
Yeah.
see, like, give it a go. Even if you have to look up, play it at first.
The
see if
order
you
to play them. Yeah.
But yeah, you may want to just have a good understanding of the bosses or whatever the case may be. Um, but yeah, it's for the most part, it's a linear. It's not really a Metroidvania. It's more like get to the end of the level, fight the boss, and then great formula for the 80s,
Mhm.
90s.
And you got a code too, so you couldn't save your game, so you got a code to input to come back to it. It was just pre-generated codes that had the certain robot bosses defeated, and you would just be able to input it and come back to where you were. So you didn't have to leave your NES just sitting on the whole time.
They'd have to leave the power on. The other thing with X is there was you could get a Ryu from Street Fighter. You could get his fireball.
Huh.
So you could
That's cool.
throw the Hadouken or whatever in game. Fun fact: I got to the end of Mega Man X multiple times. Could never beat. I don't want to say his name now because it sounds like brain rot, but his name was Sigma, and so he was so incredibly tough. Like I should probably bust out one of my collections and see if I can see if I could beat him now, because it was a rough go. And these
Yeah, I have
Mega
the
Man games have value. Like the older games, like regular, like I think Mega Man 8 on Super Nintendo, very, very valuable game. Mega Man X3, I think, also holds its value very well.
Yeah, I have the collections. I don't think I have the X collections. I have the 1 and 2 collections, which are separate cards. But I want to get X. I haven't really played a lot of X, and then Mega Man was always just something I played at friends' houses. I never really had that much of a an attachment to or a fondness for. I mean, it was they are challenging. It's challenging platforming, and so it's a challenge just to get to the boss room, and then from there the bosses can sometimes be kind of challenging, especially like the wind. Like you're fighting, like think Celeste and all that wind that you're fighting platforming. Like there's some of that with Mega Man. There's it's a fun challenge. It definitely kind of is a good showcase of what 80s video game, like mid to late 80s video games was like.
Well, so like I always knew of Mega Man, but I think like the one time that it like really hit with me was when they announced him as a character for Super Smash Brothers Wii U, and that trailer is so good, and that's kind of what it shows you in a way of like, this is Mega Man, this is all of like his power ups, this is how you play. And again, I haven't played any of them, but was Mega Man really like a thing at that time? Like, were they still putting out Mega Man games during like the Wii U era?
So Mega Man 9 came out in 2008. Mega Man 10 came out in 2010.
Okay.
And then Mega Man 11 was 2018.
Okay.
So, and there was a Street Fighter cross Mega Man. So,
Okay.
which it looks like it was just PC in 2012. There's a Mega Man soccer game that was on the Super Nintendo.
I like Cryptic says it's almost like a puzzle game, Dark Souls light before Souls like were a thing. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if you're watching the YouTube stream right now, this trailer is so good. It's so iconic.
Watching Mega Man show up in Smash. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of looking through. It looks like there's a lot of collections. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I want to see how many, like, has this game gone in very many directions outside of being side scrolling. Chat, you guys can help me out as well.
Battle Network.
Yeah, and I'm looking at. Well, I don't know if it's. So it looks like it did come out. Mega Man 64. And it looks like it was like a
every
third-person game.
64 game was trying to be like Mario 64 a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also seeing Mega Man Legends as well as another one. So there was a PS3 game. So where, like, so obviously, Cheesy, you haven't played it, but like what do you think, what would make you want to jump into a Mega Man game?
I mean, I think it's fine if it is a side-scrolling platformer. Um, and I don't know, does it really need to change? What was the quote from the investors meeting?
So they just talked about how they're always looking for. I'll look for the quote here, but it's essentially like basically Mega Man's always on their mind. They're not. It's not like he's just. They're always looking for ways to utilize the IP, and so
which they did in Monster Hunter, right? They had crossover stuff.
Yeah, you could get some crossover stuff for sure. So I think seeing like the 3D model and stuff when we're watching the Smash trailer here, like I wonder what a 3D game would play like now. The reason I started thinking about this is because like I don't, games like Metroid have evolved over time. Right? Like Prime came out and then they went back to the 2D, and I think there's a fondness for 2D again, somewhat like almost like a renaissance, if you will. Like it has kind of, especially with like Mario Wonder, and Dread coming out. Like I think there's a little more fondness towards it. I feel like there was a time there where it was like after the 64 and like the PS1, the PS2 era, like everything was trying to go 3D. But what if it went more like Mario Odyssey, where it was like 3D and then 2D at times? Would that be a little more appealing? And maybe more like an open world where, like, the win boss was over here in this area, but then does it turn to Metroidvania, and does that turn people off? Like, probably you've played the series for a while. Does any of that sound intriguing to you, or is there a direction you'd like to see him go?
I mean, there's so much with his abilities that just function better on a 2D plane. I don't know. I mean, do you go Metroid Prime style and put you in the visor? I mean, that might be a little bit better if you wanted to go kind of open, well, not open world, but just more evolve it. I mean, take it off that 2D plane. I feel like you have to be in his head versus, well, I guess Fortnite has shown that like third person kind of controlling can be accurate, I guess. I don't know. They could do kind of whatever they wanted probably and have it be okay. I think 11 underwhelmed a lot of people. I mean, I picked it up, but I don't remember playing a ton of it. The biggest selling point on 11 was a gold amiibo. And that's why I have it for the most part, but I don't know. I mean Capcom has surprised us with what they've done. We're going to talk about roguelites here in a little bit. I mean, there's enough bosses that it could kind of be unique, and you could have different abilities that you maybe have to defeat those bosses to get that, and then you could have different attacks, but that would kind of lock you into a certain attack for the run. But if they could come up with unique ways to do it and put it on that isometric kind of Hades camera style where you're going into these arenas and maybe take out some of the platforming is such a like part of what that game's DNA is, though. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. They're better at it than I am, I think. There's a lot of things I think they could do, and it would be unique and cool. As long as it's done well, that's the thing. You don't want something half-assed.
I guess I'll just say, like, with Cryptic bringing up how I don't know if he was talking about like Mega Man in general, or if there was a certain Mega Man game that is like a Souls like. I think they could go in that direction even more. And with the success of Another Crab's Treasure, that does have platforming in it, and it's a lot of fun. So if they could figure out how to make that platforming work, but also kind of make it a Souls like, maybe that's the direction that they want to go with it.
One of the ways I think Nintendo did so well with Metroid is that when Prime came out, Fusion came out. When Prime 2 came out, Zero, but like around the same time. So you had your 2D Metroid game, like Metroidvania, with these 3D games as well. And I think there could be I especially with the RE engine, like I think they could not only like what we just saw for that Smash trailer, there was an element of grittiness. Yeah, he's real shiny, but there's also kind of an element to grittiness, like throwing that blade and like some of those different weapons, like that there could be a lot of fun to be had in a first person Mega Man. And not, it doesn't need to necessarily turn into like a full-fledged like its own series, but who knows? It done correctly. I mean, Resident Evil went from third person to first person, and I think they've done very well with it. So I don't know. I think there's it feels like a series that is ready to evolve. Like, and that doesn't mean necessarily leaving behind its roots, but like maybe exploring a little bit more than what they're doing, because it is a very beloved series. And again, if you've never played some of those 2D games, you got your Switch, you've got 5 games that you can play on the Game Boy. I mean, yeah, I know it's Game Boy. There are probably some Game Boy Color ones in there, so turn the color on just so you get a little
I think they were all Game Boy, actually.
Well, I think even in the settings, I think you can still like.
Oh, can you? Can you go tweak it?
Yeah, you can go tweak so you can get a little bit of color that way. Well, our last topic, and this is the one we saved for you, Cheesy, is what kind of a roguelike would you like to see from Nintendo? And this could go multiple directions. It could be a brand new IP with new characters and everything, or it could be something. It could be something like a Smash version of a roguelike, where you have all these different characters and power-ups coming in. It could be something along the lines of like my avatar looks like Captain N, right? The old 80s cartoon, where it's like he's a character working alongside other Nintendo or other video game characters. And so when you guys think about like games like Hades or the new Turtles Splintered Fate, like what kind of game would you like to see from Nintendo in this genre?
So we recently had Splatoon Side Order as a roguelike, and I think they did a really great job with that. But for this genre specifically, I think it would be awesome if we got a new IP. Like, I think we just need a new IP in general. But if they are doing a roguelike, that would be a good way to like celebrate that new IP. Um, I don't know though. Like, would you want it to be like Hades and Ninja Turtles, or would you want it to be something different?
I have an idea that it could be like Dead Cells, and it could be Zelda. It could be Link going through, stuck in some kind of weird, just
Ganon loop.
Ganon loop that he's having to face. And they could go with that. They could go pull from any of the bosses that you faced in any of the Zelda games in any dungeon ever, and have it be randomly generated who you face, and then you're working your way up to Ganon. And then you can get different weapons to accompany you. So you can unlock the hook shot, you can unlock the boomerang, you can unlock bombs, and you can unlock the bow and arrow, and you can have, if you keep your health full, then you can have the magic blade come out with the master sword, and I think that would be really cool.
It's funny you mentioned Dead Cells, because that's one of the ones that I've probably spent the most time with. And so that's what gets me thinking, like a character, like essentially a new IP or a new character anyway, like something like Captain N, where he like has the zapper, right? Like that's his starting weapon.
But he can get the master sword, and he can get the buster cannon from, or not the buster cannon, but Samus's arm cannon, or
right, or Fire Flower and the star.
Splatoon guns. Like, there you go. You're welcome, Nintendo.
But I mean, there could be some cool stuff there. You mentioning like Splatoon, like to where, like, you know, you spray ink, you turn into a squid, and maybe you can traverse levels a little bit differently then. But then, you know, maybe you get some like Samus power-ups where you can, you know, run super fast and just kind of blow right through walls if you want to, or, you know, super missiles, and like something along those lines, where it's just even the Fire Flower and just being able to throw, you know, and then the multiple enemies that could be like the different enemies from different games, and just thinking about this in the hands of Nintendo, and just how they could make something, you know, so like they would make me want to play this genre more.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty of this genre too is it's not limited to, I mean, like Cheesy said, we did it in Splatoon. You know, it's not limited to just a side scroller. Yep. Like there's so many different ways to do it. And I mean, looking at the Turtles, we got multiplayer involved as well. So,
yeah, which we need to try out still. We haven't done that.
Right.
Not Nintendo, but in the vein of like Hades style, where you get to pick a different weapon and then go out and go room to room, making your way to a couple bosses. Capcom could do something really cool with Monster Hunter. They have enough weapons. They all kind of play differently. You could have your ranged attacks, which they have in Hades. You could have up in your face kind of brawler type stuff. They could even have the weird one. Don't they have like a musical thing in Monster Hunter?
Yeah.
You like play it to sleep or something like that. So I mean, they could do something pretty cool, and they could just have smaller monsters, like some of the less kind of alpha kind of predators, as kind of just your room to room kind of cannon fodder that you're defeating on your way to some of those, your Rathaloses and your other kind of big Monster Hunter monsters.
Yeah, and I mean, even hearing that, it just makes me think like a Metroid roguelike as well, where you're just leveling up, and but like take it further than what Dread did, even, you know, like have Samus turning into like basically just this, almost like the Hulk Buster, like just, you know, just an absolute brute, just tearing through some of the stages and the bosses and everything. I think I don't know. I would just love to see the direction that they would take something like this, with some, you know, either with brand new IP that kind of incorporates some of their other IP, or just, you know, like maybe, you know, look at the Dead Cells team. They're doing Castlevania. They're doing, you know, throw Metroid at them and say, here, like go ahead and do this. We saw, you know, the what was it? That rhythm game that
Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah, Cadence of Hyrule, and like keep doing that kind of stuff. Like keep doing that kind of stuff where we can see even if it's just Nintendo IP in some of these other genres, that like it fills space and helps us kill time waiting for the next big drop. So
I mean, you don't need this, but one of the things that I really loved about Hades is the voice acting and the writing. And Nintendo's writing is not always great, but then they like rarely have voice acting. And so thinking about all their different IPs, I'm not really sure what you could use or if you even need that to have a exciting roguelike.
Dead Cells
Well,
doesn't have any voice acting.
Yeah, and like I guess Side Order doesn't have any voice acting. It's got some dialogue that goes along with the lore.
I think though, like kind of piggybacking off of what Crawler said, if they went the Legend of Zelda route and then
Mhm.
bringing champions into the mix to where
Yeah.
like that, that would mix things up significantly. Maybe you unlock champions as you go, or however they end up doing it. Like, and I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of like the Warriors game, right, where we were seeing those different characters become playable. Like, and part of this comes from like ever since Overwatch came out, I always wanted to see a 2D side-scrolling platformer with Tracer and that rewind ability and the way she could speed across like different like jumps and platforms and that kind of stuff. Like it makes me like when we talked about at the beginning of this segment, like I would love to see a Splatoon game, like just to see the different weapons, like a Metroidvania Splatoon game where like traversing that world by being able to go up a wall with ink, but maybe only certain ink, like how they would just Nintendo-fy it, right? To where it was like,
Yeah. It's tricky though, right? Because you don't want a Hey Pikmin situation.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't it's got to be done. It's got to be done very well. But yeah, I don't know. Just kind of a fun a fun topic nonetheless, just to see if we'll even like, who knows what we'll see from Nintendo in the next couple of years with the launch of the new system, and this genre doesn't seem to be going anywhere. It's also, I think, probably a game they could throw on NSO if it was done by a smaller team, just to make that value prop a little bit better as well. So we'll just have to see. But I just want to say, hey, thanks guys so much for being here with us live. Thank you for listening after the fact. We appreciate every single one of you so very much. Make sure to tweet at Johnny Bo and let him know that he was missed. And unless Cheesy says not to, then don't do it. But
no, I mean, he's too famous to be here, so.
Well, there you go. There you go. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.